We're going back to affluent white women being annoying. Classic Leon Lush content. This came up on my feed the other day, and it's 5 minutes, and this woman is why I considered divorcing my husband. And of course, it's being recycled by this account who probably talks about women shit all day, Candace Whorebacks. I don't know really anything about her, but I was curious. I've been getting into, I don't say getting into, but I'm always curious to see what's going out, like what type of people content are putting online about their relationships, about their marriage, stuff like that, because sometimes it feels like people are constantly oversharing. I see a lot of stuff from Abba and Preach, two YouTubers I like quite a bit, that break down these kind of social commentary style videos talking about people's relationships, manosphere stuff, which I don't dip into as much. I watch stuff like this and I'm like, in what world? Like, why do people post this online? Like, if you're having marriage issues and you like went through something tough with your spouse and you got out of that space, like, but then you go yap about it for 5 minutes to the internet? That's insane to me. Is it this desperate need for validation? I don't know what it is, but I'm curious what your guys' opinion is on this, and I haven't really seen the whole thing yet, so let's take a peek here.
I've been with my husband for almost 20 years, but about 3 years ago, I was strongly considering divorce, and I want to talk to you about why. So
20 years married. That's 2 decades, dude. That is a long time. And 3 years ago, she thought about divorce. I guess it didn't happen, and now let me just yap about it for 5 minutes. That's, whew.
I'm going to tell you the story of the day where I thought to myself, maybe I don't want to do this anymore. My husband and I had 4 kids. We both worked full time. We had been together for 16 years at this point. We've been together since high school.
A lot of stuff going on. Been together since high school. Crazy, but not out of the question. 4 kids, both working full time is a lot. And it's tough. I can't speak to that dynamic. I have 1 kid. And my wife has been, she worked full time for the first 2 years of his life and then has been stay at home for the last 4. So much different experience for me. So I'll try to look at this through her lens to try and understand where she's coming from.
And on paper, I have an amazing husband. He is incredibly supportive. He's kind. He's loyal. He's a great dad. He's very hands-on. He's an active participant. He's always present. Like, on paper, what else could I ask for?
That's fucking crazy, dude. I can't already. On paper, he's the best husband ever. So caring, supportive, handsome, does everything I ask him to on paper. But fuck out of here. That's crazy to say that.
But in reality, my experience is very
paper.
similar to the experience of other women. I had this amazing husband who on paper was great, but I was incredibly frustrated.
Imagine, dude, you're watching this as her husband and you're like, oh, at least I'm just an on paper great husband. But in reality, I'm a piece of shit and my wife wanted to leave me. But on paper, I am a paper millionaire type of husband. I am the best. That's so insane, dude.
And burnt out from our marriage and from motherhood. Because what happens
everybody
to so
gets
many
that
of
way.
us is that we marry these amazing men and we have amazing relationships and then we have kids. And when we have kids,
that's how it goes.
Women tend to carry a disproportionate amount of the work in the home, the work of raising kids, and the mental load. And that is exactly what happened to us. About 3 months after my 4th baby was born, I remember looking at my husband and saying, I need more. I need you to do more. I am exhausted. I am in charge of everyone and everything in this house. Every night when we cook dinner, you ask me what to make. Every day when you drop off the kids at daycare, you ask me what they need in their backpacks. I am the project manager of this home and I need you to do more. And he looked at me and he said, okay, just tell me what to do. Right? Every woman has heard this. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. And I said, okay.
On paper, he still sounds great. On paper. If I mean, like, he's supportive. He knows that she's burdened and is asking how he can help. He's simply asking her what he can do to make her life easier. On paper, that's a wonderful trait to have in a husband. I'm having trouble wrapping my head around her need to post this video because she's making him sound great so far, unless something comes out. But also the comment about like a disproportionate amount of the child rearing lands on the woman or the female in the relationship. I mean, that's not an unusual dynamic. There are definitely fathers that are more involved and some fathers that are much less involved. And not to discredit some men, but there are men who are the predominant income force in the household, and that makes them think they're exempt from contributing to helping with the kids at all, which I don't think is necessarily right, especially if your wife is also working full time. But it sounds like he was willing, even though he's working full time, helping contribute, he was willing to try and lift the load more, just needed to know what she needed help with. That's all we've gotten so far is like, yeah, he was willing and was asking me questions.
You know, something that would make my life easier is if in the mornings when I came downstairs with the 4 kids, because I do mornings by myself, the dishwasher was emptied, the dishes were put away, and the trash was taken out. That would make my life so much easier because when I've got the 4 kids running around and the baby crying, I can't be looking for their favorite water bottle in the dishwasher. I just need to know it's clean. And he said, yeah, of course. What? Yeah, I'll do that. That's no problem. And so, of course, he does it. But then I have to remind him, and then he forgets, and then I have to remind him again.
Not unusual for dudes. I mean, this is something my wife and I go through when I try to help with something that matters to her. There's things that really matter to my wife that don't matter to me at all, but I try to make them matter to me because I know they matter to her, right? And so there's certain things like picking up certain things or making the bed every morning, and so I try my best to do those things. I could care fucking less. Like if I go up to bed and it's not made, it doesn't even cross my mind. I wouldn't even think twice about it. I'd crawl into bed and I'd go to sleep. But it's a big deal to my wife. She likes a tidy house. So I've gotten into the habit of making the bed every morning. But there are times when I forget, or it was a rough night and I sleep, or I wake up late for something and I have to squeeze out of there. And so that sucks. But my wife at least sees I'm making the effort, but she has grace when I fail at that thing because she knows that it doesn't matter to me and she knows I'm making an effort simply because it matters to her, and there's a good dynamic there. And I think that's the case with this guy. Like he wants to help, and he was, and like he forgot one time, or you know, life gets in the way, and she's about to drop the bomb on why forgetting once or twice was almost the end of their marriage, and I can't wait to hear what she has to say about it.
And I went to put something in the trash and it was overflowing, and I went to get my son's water bottle and it was in the dishwasher with all the other clean dishes.
Heaven forbid.
And I felt so disrespected and unseen and unvalued at that point in time. And I remember texting my husband being like,
it sounds like a you problem.
Like, why didn't you do this? And he said, sorry, I was running late for work. And I remember thinking,
happens.
Oh my God, he doesn't see me. Because what he's done has now made me late for work. And he doesn't care about that. He doesn't care about the impact on me. And he doesn't see how every single thing in our home happens because I ask him to do it, or because I do it myself, or because I planned and organized it. The diaper bag is full because I filled it, right? I put the wipes in there. And I felt so frustrated. And I remember thinking, what's the point? What's the point of doing this with someone else? I might as well just do it alone. And it's...
So I will say, someone in chat said she has no job. She did say she does, they both work full time, and she said that she was late to work because he fucked that up. So like, if she was a stay-at-home mom, I would be much more liberal with my shitting on her, because there's an obvious dynamic there, right? When your husband is working, probably the income, and you're a stay-at-home mom, this is a normal dynamic. Your job is to be the homekeeper. If you're both working full time, you have, I guess, a little bit of leverage to be like, hey, I need you to pick up your weight more because I'm also providing significantly financially, so I'm cautious to go too hard. But still, that felt a little...
that he doesn't care.
Like, I felt disrespected. I felt like he doesn't care about me. I felt unseen. It's like, the dude woke up late and had to run to work, and he forgot to take the trash out. Like, imagine giving up a 20-year marriage with 4 kids because of that. And don't get me wrong, like, I understand in marriages, it's oftentimes the little things that turn into the biggest things. There's varying degrees of why that's the way it is. You know, so resentment, things that are held inside and not talked about. It's always kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back a lot of times. And she's not wrong in that sense, where a lot of wives don't feel seen. The husbands never do anything to make them feel like they're appreciated or that they're listening. And that is a huge problem in marriage. Like, you do as a husband need to make the effort and need to show her that you're trying to, the best you can to some degree, care about the things that matter to her, even if they don't to you, because you care for her and you want to make her feel valued. But it sounds like this dude was doing those things, but just fucked up a couple of times or missed a time. You know, it'd be one thing if he was like, yeah, whatever, bitch. Like, I'm going to work, take care of the kids. I'll be home, have my steak and potatoes ready at 5:30, or you're getting slapped in the face. You know what I mean? Obviously, that's the drastic other side of that coin. Just kind of your traditional 50s, 60s misogynist household. This guy seems like a good guy. Missed taking out the trash one time, and she's crucifying him for it.
About the impact on me, and he doesn't see how every single thing in our home happens because I ask him to do it, or because I do it myself, or because I planned and organized it. The diaper bag is full because I filled it, right? I put the wipes in there. And I felt so frustrated. And I remember thinking, what's the point? What's the point of doing this with someone else? I might as well just do it alone. And it's not because my husband didn't love me or he did anything to me. And it's not because I didn't love him, but because I felt so taken advantage of in our relationship. And
Whoa. Bro, taken advantage of is a crazy reach to go there. You can say underappreciated. I would even let that slide and still be a little skeptical, but taken advantage of, bitch, you're married with 4 kids. Like, he's got shit on his plate too. He is willing to help you. He's asking how he can help and he's trying, at least. You gotta carry your weight too, bitch. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, what do you, man, I don't know these two, but this feels so out of pocket from this chick.
this dynamic, it doesn't happen by accident, right? It's not like my husband did it to me, but we've been raised in this society that tells men and women who they should be in marriages and what it looks like to be a good mom versus a good dad. And we know the bar for moms is way up here and the bar for dads is way down here. And we fell into these norms. We fell into these roles in our family, despite the fact that we never wanted to. And
Okay, so we fell into these norms, we fell into these roles as a family, despite the fact that we never wanted to. That to me is very telling, okay? You knew that when you got married and had kids, that you now have a responsibility to your family, okay? As a mother, as a father, the responsibilities vary, but together, the main responsibility is to your kids and to raise a family. There's gonna be trials, tribulations. You're gonna stumble, you're gonna fall. You have to work together. It is one of the hardest things in the world to keep a family together through decades of time. But this idea that you just fell into this like cultural stereotype of what a mother was supposed to be, like, what did you think was gonna happen when you got married and had 4 kids? That it was gonna be easy and you could still go out with your friends every weekend and sip Mai Tais on the fucking beach while your husband was at home doing all the child rearing? Like, these are the responsibilities of being a mother that you're talking about. It's not like, this to me feels like a bitch that has scrolled too many Instagram reels, that has seen so many progressive takes about how you need to share this and shit. Like, no, put all that bullshit, like, put your phone down for a minute and just realize that your only responsibility is to your husband and your family once you have kids, right? Certainly you got to find ways to make time for yourself. And hopefully if your husband is a good man, he's going to do things that make you feel appreciated. And he's going to try to occasionally go the extra mile to give you the time to get away from the grind of being a mother of 4 kids, because it is a fucking grind. Don't get me wrong. That's a lot of work to do that. But this idea that you're being burdened by the responsibility of raising 4 kids is disgusting and super new age to me. That is a blessing to be able to raise a family that respects you and loves you, and that will maybe, in the part is, and this is probably where she's coming from, is being a mother is a thankless job a lot of the time. And if you aren't able to find joy and purpose in that giving of yourself to these beautiful human beings that will never be able to repay you fully for what you've done for them, and you end up making videos like this on the internet. And it's embarrassing because you haven't been able to find that purpose and be comfortable with that. You had, being comfortable with how much you had to sacrifice to raise these kids. And it's too bad. And now you're yapping to the internet about, I just fell into the cultural marriage roles of raising kids. And it's like, you're making me ill here, lady.
I'm lucky. And I say lucky because I have a partner.
On paper. I'm lucky on paper, but in reality, I wish I was still out grinding dicks in the club like in college, drinking vodka Red Bulls. And now I can't because these shit fucking kids and my stupid piece of shit perfect on paper husband.
Who I know loves me and wants me to be happy. and was willing and able to change. And so we did the work to figure out what equity looked like in our relationship. And I can tell you now, 3 years later, that we are happier than ever. Our kids are thriving. Our home runs like a well-oiled machine. And that took a lot of work. I want to say it took like 18 months to get there. And it was well worth it. But it is not uncommon. And so if your wife is coming to you and she's saying, I'm burnt out by the mental load and I need you to do more, she's not just saying that because she wants you to do more chores. She's saying that because truly it can hurt your relationship. It can ruin your marriage if you do not participate in an equitable way in your home. And so what does that look like? What does it look like to change these dynamics?
So again, I've been a little bit over the top and definitely shitting on her because we don't get to hear the husband side, and she's painted him as this great guy on paper, not in reality, just on paper. But she is right there, right? There does need to be some sort of equity, or at least an effort for it, I think, right? Especially if your spouse is asking and being like, hey, I really need this from you because it's become too much. You'd like to think he'd be willing. And the problem I had was at the beginning, she made it sound like he was willing to do that and she was still shitting on him for it, so.
Well, we need to really assess in our homes what the work looks like. Because in most homes, the data supports this, women do a disproportionate amount of the work.
The data, dude, she's looking at graphs about the data, about how much women are working. Like, no shit, dude. Marriage isn't 50-50, dude. I'm sorry. It's not 50-50. It's never 50-50. Marriage is sometimes 90-10 in one direction and other times 90-10 in the other. And that's how it should ebb and flow. Sometimes it's 60-40. There's maybe periods of time where it's 50-50. But when it comes to like this idea that you have to find this perfect split that equally distributes every single modicum of work and responsibility in the house between the chores and the kids, and it needs to be exactly the same for both of us, and we have to have, and we're keeping score, and it's telling we have a whiteboard with how many things you've done for the kids this week, and this is how many things I've done for the kids this week. Like, you're so if that's the way you think. Makes no sense. And this, well, the data supports that women do a disproportionate amount of, I'm like, yeah, no shit, buddy. Like, of course they, no shit, you're a mother. Of course, like, if you have a $300,000 a year job and your husband stays at home to child rear, he would probably do the disproportionate amount of work. I guess the conversation is like, how much money do both of you make and how much money do you need to survive, and then figure it out. Leave your job. Whatever. Like, what are you talking about here?
They just do. They do more of the cooking and the cleaning and the laundry and the childcare while also working full time. And men have more time for things like,
a lot of women don't work full time, but some do.
Like their hobbies, like golf, for example, or just working out, running a marathon, right? And so we need to have
shitting on her husband for trying to run a marathon. Your husband's a golfer, runs marathons, perfect on paper, just eating shit right now because he has hobbies. Like, you're not allowed to have a hobby. Her hobby is clearly scrolling Instagram. Well, the kids are crying in the crib and looking at data about how much disproportionate work she has to do to keep the home together.
Conversations about what our time looks like, what our labor in the home looks like, what is invisible labor. We have to talk about these things. And when we don't,
invisible labor,
the alternative is that you no longer have a marriage, or you don't have a happy one at least. And so I share this story because I don't think I'm alone in this experience. And I want people to know that there's hope, and that if you have a willing and able partner.
Unconvinced that there's hope after watching this.
You can change this. You can absolutely change this dynamic.
Man, that was so much. That's a modern woman right there. I don't know, like, here's the deal. Women you're allowed to have your concerns and feelings about a relationship, but that just for the whole thing felt very unnecessary. I don't know. And again, it's out of context. Like, we don't know them. I don't know her, but oh boy, if I woke up one day and like was scrolling TikTok and my wife posted some shit like that, being like, well, it was rough for 18 months, but things are great now. I'd be like, well, they're not great anymore, bitch. Okay. That's a me and you conversation. The fact you put that online is insanity. 20 years together, and that's what you're dealing with. God bless. That's the type of bro that's like just in it together for the kids, you know? 20 years, you've been with her since high school. Like, what are you gonna do now? That's a tough one, dude. That's a whew. The craziest thing is some of these comments, though. The funniest part of this is when she gives a long list of objective facts about her husband's actions in the real world, which she refers to as on paper, in contrasts with in reality, by which she means her feelings. That's actually very funny. That's very good. That is a funny part of the video. This is why career women are so often a bad choice in marital partner. They deliberately saddle themselves with 2 full-time jobs and then resent the stress and workload it causes, blaming the husband, because it's of course never her fault, for not eagerly and without prompting overextending himself too. She should either quit her job and become a homemaker, ask her husband to quit and be a homemaker, hire a full-time maid, or embrace the burden she placed on herself and be grateful to her husband when he helps instead of resentful when he only does his job plus some of her job. Complaining about a full-time employed man not doing more housework is like a man complaining that his homemaker wife doesn't get a job and help with family finances. Both equally cringe. Interesting take there. Very traditional conservative vibes, but some truth to it for sure. I think that is the problem, is the fact that they are both gainfully employed full-time, and without knowing the nature of those jobs and how much they're financially contributing, it's hard to make additional comments about that dynamic. She felt disrespected when her husband forgot to take out the garbage. How should he feel about her posting this video? The screenshot. That's the perfect screenshot, dude. I mean, come on, dude. Some takeaways. Women take on more responsibility in the house than men. One reason is because women instinctively want to take care of their kids. Here are the ways she can fix this without screwing up her marriage. Don't do kids' laundry. What? These are just all very, don't unload the dishwasher. 7-year-old kids can do that. Yeah, honestly, you got 4 kids, like they should be doing some shit. As soon as kids can eat applesauce, they need to be helping, carrying their weight around the house. Her husband cooks, cleans, loads the dishwasher, takes out the trash, but somehow that's not good enough and begets a divorce. Probably makes 2 extra salary too, and she has some hobby job in many such cases. That's very assumptive, obviously, but is what it is. DSF. My grandma ran a house with 3 kids, cooked, cleaned, mowed the lawns, did the trash, did the washing, everything. Modern women are cooked beyond belief. They think life is so hard and go on the internet and think it has to be better. Then they'll decide, yeah, I'm leaving, and then the battle to take 80% of what their man worked for and leave him with nothing. 99% of modern women are cooked. That's maybe a little aggressive. I'm sure there's someone that speaks to, but not always. When you pulled certain things of her little diatribe there out of context, there were some valid points. But it was given the nature of like her gassing up her husband and being like, yeah, he's really the best, and forgot the trash one time, and I almost left him. All right, bro. All right. I don't know. God bless. Good luck. I hope your marriage works out, truly. I hope you're happy. Your husband is definitely desperate to go golfing on the weekends, if I had to guess, and I can understand why. Although I'm desperate to golf on the weekends too, and I love my wife a lot, and she does not do shit like that to me, thank Christ. So yeah, guys, have a great rest of the night. Good weekend. It's Friday tomorrow, so you know what that means. Gay sex for everyone.